Welcome back, and good evening. Tonight we walk the long streets of Yharnam together, and one by one we meet the beasts and the gods that wait at the end of every road. These are the most terrifying bosses in Bloodborne, told slowly, told gently, so the hunt itself can carry you down into sleep. If these long quiet journeys help you rest, a soft tap on the subscribe button means a great deal. Now settle in. Close your eyes. You don't need to be afraid of any of this. Let's begin. The cleric beast on the bridge. The first terror of Yharnam meets you on a bridge, in the dark, with the fog rolling thick beneath the arches. You have walked the empty streets, you have heard the distant bells and the far-off howls, and you have told yourself they were only dogs. And then the great aqueduct opens before you, and something unfolds from the shadows that is far too large to be a dog, far too wrong to be a man. This is the cleric beast. Its body is long and starved, its ribs showing through matted fur, one arm swollen and monstrous while the other hangs thin and useless at its side. Its head is narrow and horned, almost like a stag remade into something hungry. It rears up against the moon and it screams, and for a moment the whole city seems to hold its breath with you. The horror of the cleric beast is not only in its size, it is in what it once was. This creature was a person. Somewhere in Yharnam before this night, it was a member of the healing church, a cleric, a keeper of faith. The church offered the people a miracle. It offered healing through blood, a special blood, ministered in quiet chapels, and for a long time that blood did seem to heal. But the blood carried something inside it, a slow change, a scourge, and those who took too much of it, or took it too long, began to turn. Their bones lengthened, their minds clouded, their bodies grew fur and hunger and rage. This is the beast plague, and the cleric beast is one of its saddest early faces, a holy man undone by the very gift he preached. Many who study this world believe the clerics were among the first to fall so far, because they were closest to the blood and drew on it most freely. It is gently debated, as so much here is, but the sorrow underneath is plain enough. This was not a monster born in some far dungeon. It was a neighbour, a shepherd of souls, lost to the same medicine that was meant to save the city. So you fight it there on the bridge under the moon. It swings its heavy arm, it leaps, it howls. And when at last it falls, it does not roar in triumph or malice. It simply sinks down, the great starved body settling against the stone, and the fog closes back over it. The scream fades. The bridge is quiet again. Before we leave the bridge entirely, let us stand in it a little longer, in the safety of the quiet after. Look how the moonlight lies across the wet stone, silver and cold and still. Listen to the water moving far below through the old arches, a low and endless murmur that has run beneath this city for longer than anyone can remember. There is a lantern burning somewhere behind you, a small warm point of light in all that blue dark, and its glow wavers gently on the paving stones. This bridge has seen 100 hunts, and will see 100 more. But tonight, in this moment, it holds nothing but calm. The great starved shape that met you here is only a shadow now, folding back into the fog it came from. And the fog itself is soft, a slow grey tide rolling in and out between the arches, hiding nothing anymore, threatening nothing. It is the kind of fog you could lie down in. It asks for nothing. It only drifts, and settles and drifts again, patient as breathing. Let that quiet reach you now. The first beast is behind you, and it is at rest, and whatever it suffered is over. You can feel your own breathing slow. There is nothing on the bridge now but fog and moonlight, and the soft distant sound of water moving through the old stones. Rest here a moment before we walk on. Father Gascoigne and the music box. Deeper into the streets, Near a graveyard where the lamps have gone dim, you meet a different kind of terror, and this one may be the saddest of the whole long night. His name is Father Gascoigne. He is a hunter, like you. He came to Yharnam from a foreign land, and he took up the cause of the hunt to protect the city on nights like this one. He wears the garb of a clergyman turned hunter, and he carries an axe and a blunderbuss, and he has walked these same fog-choked lanes many, many times. He is good at what he does. That is part of the horror, because Gascoigne has hunted too long. Every hunter in Yharnam risks the same slow poison the beasts carry, for the hunt is soaked in blood, and blood is how the plague spreads. Night after night of killing, night after night of that thick red mist, and a hunter can lose the thread of himself. He begins to forget who is beast and who is not. He begins to forget his own name. Gascoigne, this good and dutiful man, is standing at the edge of that forgetting when you find him. You meet him crouched over a body among the gravestones, and when he rises and turns to you, his eyes are already wrong. He speaks in fragments. He warns you, almost tenderly, that beasts are all over the place, and then he wonders aloud whether you might be one. And then the man begins to slip away, and the beast begins to rise. There is a small mercy hidden in this fight, and it belongs to his family. Gascoigne had a wife, Viola, and 2 young daughters. One of those little girls gives you a music box before the night grows too dark. A small, sweet thing that plays a lullaby her mother used to sing. If you carry it, and if you use it as Gascoigne begins to change, the melody reaches him. For a moment the beast stops. He clutches his head. He remembers. The music pulls the man back up through the fog of what he is becoming, just for a breath. But the music cannot hold forever, and in the end he turns fully, the human features breaking apart into something snarling and pale, and so you do for him what a hunter is meant to do. You give him rest. When it is done, and the beast lies still in the churchyard grass, you can almost feel the whole tragedy settle into the ground with him, a father who only wanted to keep his family safe, undone by too many nights of duty. Stay a moment longer in the churchyard with the lullaby still turning in the air. The little melody is simple, only a handful of notes, the sort of tune a mother hums without thinking as she rocks a child towards sleep. It was made for exactly this, for the drawing down of the day, for the closing of tired eyes. Let it play on softly in your mind. Around you the old gravestones lean at gentle angles, worn smooth by rain and years, and the grass grows long and cool between them. A single lamp burns near the gate, and its light falls kindly over everything, over the stones, over the quiet ground, over the place where a weary father finally found his rest. There is no sorrow left here now, only the memory of love, which is a softer thing. The daughters are safe, the lullaby is theirs, and now it is yours as well, winding down slower and slower, note by gentle note, asking nothing of you but to let your shoulders fall and your breath grow long. It is a heavy story, this one, so let it soften now. The lullaby still hangs faintly in the air, that gentle winding tune, and it asks nothing of you but to close your eyes. His watch is over. The graveyard is calm. The lamps burn low and steady, and the fog lies down like a blanket over the stones. Breathe slowly, and let the little melody carry the sadness away. Everything here is quiet now. The blood-starved beast in old Yharnam. There is a part of the city that the rest of Yharnam has tried very hard to forget. It is called Old Yharnam, and it lies black and burned along a hillside, its towers scorched, its streets thick with ash. This is where the plague was first allowed to run wild, and this is where the city made its first terrible choice. When the beast scourge began to spread, long before your night of the hunt, the people of Old Yharnam were among the earliest to fall, and rather than heal them or mourn them, the powers of the city decided to burn them out. A group called the Powder Kegs and a grim watchman named Jura are woven through this district's memory. Old Yharnam was set aflame, its afflicted left inside, and the fire was meant to be an ending. But beasts are stubborn things, and some survive down in the dark below the ash. At the bottom of that ruined district, in a low stone chapel, waits the blood-starved beast. If the cleric beast showed you a person newly turned, this creature shows you what the plague looks like at its very worst. It is skinless in places, its flesh raw and glistening, its long limbs almost like a great spider, or a wounded animal that has torn itself apart. It moves in a low, desperate crawl, and its whole body seems to drip. The name tells the tragedy. This beast is blood-starved. The blood that made it is the same blood it now craves, endlessly, and can never satisfy. As you fight it, it grows more frenzied, and a poison rises off it in a thick cloud, so that even to stand near it is to be sickened. It is a creature made entirely of hunger, kept alive long past the point where anything should still be suffering. That is the true horror here, and it is worth naming softly and then setting gently down. This is not a villain. It is an ending that was denied its rest. When at last it falls in that dim chapel, and the poison mist thins, there is a strange peace in it, the peace of a very old pain finally allowed to stop. High above the burned district now, the air is clean and cool, and the ash is only a memory below. Let us rest here in the good air a while. From this height, old Yharnam looks almost peaceful, a field of soft grey rooftops and cold chimneys, silent beneath the moon, its old fires long since gone to embers, and then to nothing at all. Whatever raged down there is finished. The wind moves gently across the high places, carrying no smoke now, only the faint, clean smell of stone and distance. Somewhere a loose shutter taps once against a wall, and then is still. The city sleeps around you, street upon street of quiet houses, their windows dark, their doors closed, everyone within them long since drifted off. You are one of them now, safe on the high ground, with the cool air on your face and the whole hushed city laid out below like a blanket. There is nowhere you need to go. There is nothing you need to do. Let the clean wind carry the last of the ash from your thoughts, and let yourself grow still. So let us leave the ash and climb back up toward cleaner air. The fires of old Yharnam are long cold now. The district sleeps under its blanket of grey, and nothing down there hungers any more. You are safe here, high above it, where the wind is quiet. Let your shoulders loosen. Let the memory of that low chapel fade like smoke. There is only stillness now, and stillness is where we are going to stay a little while. Dark beast Parl in the ruins. Not every terror in Yharnam is made of fur and hunger. Some are made of something stranger, and Dark beast Parl is the first of these, a creature that seems less like an animal and more like a storm given bones. You find it out among the ruined lower streets, in a broken district haunted by hunters and by grief. At first it may not even be whole. Parl can appear as a scattering of pale bones, still and lifeless, until something wakes it, and then those bones draw together and rise, and a blue-white light kindles inside the empty ribs. Lightning crackles along its skeletal frame. It stands on long, thin legs like a great electric hound, and every movement throws sparks across the cobblestones. Parl is one of the mysteries of this world, and here we should be honest and gentle about what is truly known. In-game it is called a dark beast, and it is bound up with the strange energies that run beneath Yharnam. The sense that this city sits atop something old and cosmic, and not entirely of this earth. Many who study Bloodborne believe Parl is a sign that the beast plague and the deeper cosmic mysteries of the city are tangled together, that a beast can be touched not only by blood, but by something from far beyond the moon. It is gently debated, and the game keeps its secrets. What you can see plainly is the lightning, the strangeness, the sense that the rules have shifted. To fight Parl is to dance with a live wire. It arches and lunges, and its whole body flares with electricity, and the ruined street lights up blue in flashes. It is beautiful in a frightening way, this creature, a skeleton wrapped in a thunderstorm, pacing the wreckage of a fallen district. And like a storm, it passes. When Paarl finally falls, the light inside it gutters out, the sparks die away, and the bones come apart once more and lie still on the stones. The blue glow fades from the ruins. The crackle in the air goes silent. The ruined street is quiet again now, washed clean, the way the whole world feels after a storm has finally passed over and moved on toward the horizon. Let us stay in that after the storm calm a while. The blue light is gone from the broken stones, and in its place there is only the soft ordinary dark, cool and even and kind. A little rubble shifts and settles somewhere and then is silent. The old ruined houses lean quietly against one another, patient as they have been for years, and the moon looks down on them without any menace at all, only a plain pale watchfulness, the way the moon has always looked down on sleeping towns. The charge has gone out of the air. That prickling sense of a gathering storm has faded entirely, and what remains is the deep, restful stillness that comes when the sky has spent itself and gone gentle. You can feel your own body loosen in it, the way everything loosens once the thunder has rolled away for good. Breathe the cool, clean air. There is nothing electric left in the night, nothing waiting, nothing to brace against. Only quiet, and the soft dark, and rest. Feel that silence settle over you now, the way the air feels washed and calm after a storm has moved on. The lightning is spent. The ruined street is dark and quiet and cool. Whatever strange power lived inside those bones has scattered and gone. You can breathe easily. There is nothing left here to fear, only the soft dark and the distant sleeping city. Let yourself sink a little deeper. We still have a long, gentle night ahead. Vicar Amelia in the cathedral. At the heart of Yharnam stands the grand cathedral, the seat of the healing church, the place from which all that blood and all that faith once flowed. If any place in the city should be safe, it is here, in the shadow of the great altar. And yet this is where one of the most sorrowful terrors of the night is waiting for you. Her name is Vicar Amelia. She was the leader of the healing church, its highest living shepherd, a woman of enormous faith. When you first glimpse her at the altar, she is still human, kneeling in prayer, clutching a small pendant, whispering to whatever she believes still listens. She is afraid. She can feel the change coming for her, as it came for the clerics and for Gascoigne. And she is praying against it with everything she has. And then, as you watch, the prayer fails. Her body begins to grow. Her limbs stretch and thicken, white fur spreads across her, antlers rise from her skull, and the vicar of the church becomes a towering pale beast, vast and terrible beneath the cathedral's high ceiling. The most powerful woman of faith in Yharnam falls to the same plague she spent her life ministering. There may be no clearer sign that the church's miracle was always a curse in disguise. She fights with a desperate, mournful strength, and she does something the other beasts do not. When she is badly wounded, she stops, and she raises her great clawed hands, and she seems to pray again. And as she does, her wounds begin to close. Even as a beast, some deep part of her is still reaching for healing, still clutching at the faith she cannot let go. It is a haunting thing to witness. The pendant she held is called the Rune, tied to the church's oldest secrets, and her fall opens the way toward those secrets, toward the truth of what Yharnam really worshipped. But that is a road for later chapters. For now, all that matters is the woman beneath the fur and the mercy of an ending. When Amelia at last lies still on the cathedral floor, the great pale shape going quiet under the stained glass, the terrible strain of her praying finally stops. Whatever she was afraid of has already happened, and it is over, and she does not have to fight it anymore. Let us stay beneath the great arches a while longer, in the deep calm of the emptied cathedral. It is a vast space, this place, built to make a person feel small in a comforting way, held within something far larger and older than themselves. The ceiling rises so high it is lost in shadow, and the stone columns march away into the dim like the trunks of a great still forest. The candles have burned low, and their small flames stand perfectly upright in the windless air, each one a steady point of gold. Moonlight comes down through the high-stained windows and lies in soft-coloured pools across the floor, blues and faded reds and gentle greys, still as water. The great space holds its silence the way a cupped hand holds water, carefully, completely. Whatever prayers were once spoken here have long since risen and faded, and what is left in their place is only peace, the deep-worn peace of a holy place at rest. You could sit here forever, in the coloured light and the candle glow, and never be disturbed. Let the vastness hold you gently. Let the silence be a comfort rather than a weight. Breathe slowly beneath the arches, and rest. So let the cathedral fall silent and calm around you. The candles burn low along the walls. The moonlight comes soft through the high windows and pools on the stone. The prayers have ended, and in their place there is only a deep and holy quiet, the kind of quiet that asks nothing of you at all. Rest here in it. You are safe beneath these old arches. Let the peace of this still place settle all the way through you before we move on into the deeper night. The Witch of Hemwick. Away from the grand cathedrals and the burning districts, in a lonely corner of the world, there is a graveyard so old and so forgotten that even Yharnam seems to have turned its back on it. This is Hemwick Charnel Lane, a place of crooked stones and hunched cottages and old women who move through the dark carrying lanterns and long blades. And somewhere in the heart of it lives the Witch of Hemwick. The witch is a small, huddled figure, wrapped in rags, easy to overlook among all that gloom. That is part of what makes her frightening. She does not tower over you like the beasts. She does not scream. She simply hides, slipping in and out of sight, and she works a quiet and unsettling magic. For the witch has power over the mind's eye, over the strange organs that let a person see what lies beyond the ordinary world. Here we brush against one of the deep secrets of Yharnam, and it is worth telling softly. In this city, certain people gather things called insight, a kind of understanding, an opening of perception that lets them glimpse the truths hidden behind the veil of the everyday. The more insight you carry, the more of the real cosmic world you can see, the things that were always there but that ordinary eyes were mercifully blind to. The witch trades in these hidden eyes. She can summon shadowy servants out of the dark, called mad ones, faceless things that rise from the ground to defend her, and she scurries away to hide again while they swarm. It is an eerie, disorienting fight, played out among the gravestones by lantern light. The witch vanishes. You hunt for her small hidden shape while her servants close in. There is fog everywhere, and the pale glow of lamps, and the sense that the graveyard itself is watching. Of all the terrors of the night, hers is one of the most quietly strange, less a battle of strength than a game of shadows in a place time forgot. But even the witch and all her hiding cannot last against a determined hunter. When at last you find her small huddled form for the final time, and the last of her borrowed magic goes out, the graveyard falls still. The mad ones sink back into the earth from which they came. The lanterns stop their swaying. The whole crooked, haunted lane lets out a long breath and settles. Let the crooked lane grow soft and distant now, and let the strangeness of it fade. Fog is drifting through the old graveyard, low and slow, curling between the leaning stones, and a single lantern someone left burning long ago casts its steady yellow glow over the mist. There is something almost tender in an abandoned place at rest, a place that has finally been left alone to be quiet. The mad ones have sunk back into the earth, the hidden magic has gone out, and Hemwick, for all its gloom, is only an old forgotten graveyard now, the kind of place where the grass grows long and the air smells of damp earth and cold stone and nothing stirs but the slow drift of the fog. The strangeness that filled it has thinned away like breath on a cold window. What remains is simply the deep hush of a place at the edge of the world, where time moves slowly and nothing is asked of anyone. Let that hush settle into you. Let the small warm lantern glow at the centre of all that fog, a single point of gentle light, and let your eyes grow heavy watching it. There is nothing here to find, nothing to fear, nothing to do but rest. So let us not linger among the stones. Step back from that lonely place and let the fog close over it behind you. The witch's tricks are done. There is nothing moving in Hemwick now but the slow drift of mist between the graves and the soft yellow glow of a lantern someone left burning long ago. It is quiet here in a way that is almost gentle, the deep quiet of a place that has finally been left alone. Let that quiet be yours for a while. Breathe it in. There is nothing here that wants anything from you now. Rest the shadows of Yharnam. Beyond the edges of the city proper, past the last houses, there is a great dark wood, tangled and overgrown and heavy with the smell of poison and rot. It is called the Forbidden Woods, and the name is a warning. People were not meant to wander here. And deep within it, guarding an old secret path, stand 3 cloaked figures known together as the Shadows of Yharnam. These are not beasts. That is the first thing to understand about them, and it changes the shape of the fear. The Shadows are men, or were men, hunters of a very old and forbidden kind. They wear dark robes and carry curved swords and candles, and they wield a strange serpentine sorcery. They are the keepers of something the church would rather no one found, the road that leads back toward the origins of all the city's troubles, back toward a scholarly settlement called Bergenwerth, where the first fatal discoveries were made. When you meet the Shadows, they rise together in the clearing, 3 against 1, and they move as a coven. One favours the blade, one calls fire, one summons serpents, great dark snakes that pour up out of their own bodies, as if the men themselves were only shells stretched over something coiling and cold. And here we should be honest and gentle, as the law asks us to be. Many who study this world believe the serpents are a sign of the beginning of the beast within these men, a change that takes a different, older form than the fur and hunger of the city's beasts. It is gently debated. What the game shows plainly is 3 guardians, bound by a shared and secret duty, defending a truth to the last. As the fight goes on, and their numbers thin, the survivors grow more frantic, and the serpents pour forth more thickly, and the candlelight throws long shifting shadows across the trees. There is something almost mournful in it, 3 loyal keepers giving everything to hold a threshold no one was ever meant to cross. And then it is over. The last cloak crumples to the forest floor, the serpents unwind and vanish, the candles gutter out one by one, and the clearing goes dark and still. The path behind them lies open now, but it can wait. It will keep until we are ready. Let us linger a moment in the deep wood now, in the green dark, before we go on. The Forbidden Woods are quiet in a way that only old forests are quiet, a living stillness, full of the soft sounds of a world settling toward night. Somewhere far off a branch creaks gently and falls silent. The poison mist lies low along the ground, pale and slow, but up where you stand the air is cool and clean and smells of moss and bark and distant rain. Through the high tangle of branches overhead you can see scattered pieces of sky, and the moon among them, its pale light falling down through the leaves in soft broken patches that stir whenever the wind breathes through the canopy. The guardians have laid down their candles and their curved blades, and the clearing has gone dark and calm. There is nothing threatening in the wood now, only its great patient age. the sense of a place that was here long before the city, and will be here long after, holding its quiet through all the years. Let that old calm reach you, let the soft moving light, and the deep green dark, and the far gentle sounds of the forest carry you down towards stillness. Rest here, held by the old wood. For now, let the wood grow quiet around you. The poison mist drifts low between the roots, but it cannot reach you here. The trees stand tall and silent, and far above them, through the branches, you can just make out the pale round face of the moon. The guardians have laid down their swords. Nothing stirs in the forbidden woods now, but the slow settling of leaves and the soft hush of a wind you can barely feel. Let it move through you and carry the last of the tension away. You are deep in the quiet now, and the quiet is kind. Rom, the vacuous spider. There is a lake at the end of a long descent, a still black mirror of water lying beneath the stars, and it is one of the most peaceful places in all of Bloodborne. It should not be peaceful. Something enormous is sleeping there, half submerged in the shallows, and its name is Rom, the vacuous spider. Rom does not look like the beasts you have fought. Rom is vast and pale and soft, covered in a strange hide studded with glassy growths, ringed by countless smaller spiders that skitter across the surface of the lake. And here we come to one of the tenderest, saddest ideas in the whole of this world, so let us speak of it gently. Rom was once a person, a young scholar, many believe, a student at Bergenworth, elevated long ago into something more than human, given a great and terrible responsibility. That responsibility is a veil. Rom holds a barrier over the eyes of the city, a kind of merciful blindness. As long as Rom keeps its silent vigil at the lake, the ordinary people of Yharnam are shielded from seeing the true cosmic reality that surrounds them, the great beings that drift unseen through the sky, the truths that would shatter a mind unprepared. Rom is not a monster guarding treasure. Rom is a guardian keeping the world gentle, keeping the sky empty, so that no one has to look up and understand. The word vacuous is important, and it is kinder than it sounds. It means empty, and Rom's emptiness is the emptiness of the sky it protects, a blankness held in place, so that the rest of the city can go on sleeping in ignorance and peace. There is a real sorrow, then, in what you must do. To go deeper into the mystery of this night, you have to lift the veil, and to lift the veil, you have to end Rom. The fight is slow and strange, played out across the black water under a field of impossible stars. Rom teleports away from you, drifting to another patch of the lake, calling down showers of cold light, its little spiders swarming at its feet. It never truly pursues you, it only endures and defends and tries to keep doing the one silent task it was given so long ago. When Rom finally falls, and its great pale body sinks into the shallows, the world changes. The veil tears. The sky above Yharnam splits open, and a great red moon descends, low and enormous and terrible. And for the first time the hidden things become visible to all who can bear to look. This is a turning point in the long night, the moment the truth comes down. It is a great deal to take in. Let us stay a moment longer at the Black Lake, in the last of the deep quiet, before the sky ever thinks of changing. The water lies flat and still and dark, a perfect mirror, and the stars are strewn across it so thickly that it is hard to tell where the lake ends and the heavens begin. It is one of the most peaceful sights in all the world, this still black water under its field of quiet stars. And you can stand at its edge and feel your thoughts grow as smooth and calm as its surface. Nothing moves here now. The great pale guardian has sunk beneath the shallows and lies at rest, its long silent watch finished, and the little spiders that ringed the water have gone still. There is only the faint cool light of the stars, doubled in the mirror of the lake, and the vast soft silence of a place at the edge of understanding. You do not have to look up. You do not have to know anything. you can simply stand here in the starlight, at the shore of the still dark water, and let the calm of it fill you completely, the way stillness fills a quiet room. Breathe slowly, and let your mind grow as smooth as the lake. And rest. So let us not take it in all at once. Let us stay a moment longer at the edge of the still black lake, before the sky changes in the last of the quiet. The water lies flat and calm. The stars are scattered across it like frost. Rom's long watch is finished now, and whatever weight it carried has been set down at last. There is a hush over the lake so deep you could almost float in it. Let it hold you. Let your thoughts go as still and empty as that dark water. There is nothing to understand here, and nothing to fear, only rest. Amygdala in the nightmare. Once the veil is lifted, once the red moon hangs low over the rooftops, you begin to see the things that were always there, and one of them has been with you far longer than you knew. Its name is Amygdala, and it has been clinging to the walls and towers of Yharnam this whole time, unseen, watching, waiting for your eyes to open. Amygdala is a great one of the vast cosmic beings that drift at the edges of this world, and to look at it is to feel your understanding stretch and strain. It is a tangle of long thin limbs, far too many of them, and a great swollen head with a mouth that seems to weep. It is named for a part of the human brain, the small deep place tied to fear and instinct, and that name is a quiet clue to what it is and what it does to those who behold it. Before your insight grew, Amygdala was invisible, a shape draped over the city that ordinary eyes slid right past. Now you can see it. Now you cannot unsee it. You meet it in a place called the Nightmare Frontier, a bleak and alien wasteland that seems to exist outside the ordinary world, all grey stone and pale mist and toxic pools. A dreamscape of desolation. Amygdala descends there to face you, dragging its long limbs, swinging that great weeping head, and the strangeness of it is almost overwhelming. This is no longer a fight against a plague or a person. This is a meeting with something from far beyond the moon, something that was old before the church, before Bergenworth, before Yharnam had a single stone. And yet, for all its cosmic scale, Amygdala can be met and matched and laid to rest. Here is a gentle truth about the great ones of this world, one that softens even their terror. Many are less like cruel gods, and more like grieving alien parents. Beings that have suffered loss and reach toward humanity for reasons we can barely grasp. It is gently debated what Amygdala truly wants, or feels, if it feels at all. But there is something almost pitiable in its long flailing limbs, its weeping face, its slow desperate lunges across the grey waste. When Amygdala at last comes down, its many limbs folding, its great head sinking to the stone, the Nightmare Frontier grows very quiet. The toxic mists drift on. The pale light hangs unchanged over the desolation, but the enormous presence that filled the sky is gone, and the emptiness it leaves behind is, strangely, a kind of relief. Let the grey frontier grow calm around you now, and let your thoughts spread out, and settle in all that empty space. This is a wide and lonely place, the Nightmare Frontier, but with the great presence gone from it there is a strange restfulness to its emptiness, the peace of an open plain under a wide pale sky. The mists drift slowly across the grey stone, going nowhere in particular, in no hurry at all. There is no wind to speak of, only the faint slow movement of the fog and the deep quiet beneath it. Nothing towers over you anymore. Nothing clings to the distant rocks. The sky is simply the sky, pale and high and empty, and the ground is simply the ground, cool and grey and still. There is a particular calm that comes from being in a vast open space with nothing in it that wants anything from you, and this is that calm drawn out to the horizon in every direction. Let your mind grow as wide as the frontier. Let your thoughts drift like the slow mist, unhurried, unbothered, going nowhere. You have looked upon something enormous and come safely through, and now there is only this great gentle emptiness, and the quiet, and rest. So let that relief settle into you now. You have looked upon something vast and unknowable, and you have come through it, and it is over. The frontier is silent. The mists move slowly, softly, going nowhere in particular, and there is nothing left in all that grey expanse that means you any harm. Let your mind grow as wide and quiet as that empty sky. You do not have to understand any of it tonight. You only have to breathe, and drift, and rest. We will go on when you are ready, and not a moment before. The One Reborn above the chapel. Not all the horrors of this night are lost people or ancient gods. Some are made on purpose, stitched together by human hands out of desperation and misguided faith. The One Reborn is the worst of these, a thing that never should have been, raised up in the ruined heights of a district called Yharnam. Yharnam is sometimes called the Hidden Village, or the Unseen Village, and it is a grim and secretive place, home to a cult of scholars who wanted, above all, to make contact with the Great Ones. They wanted a miracle of their own, a child of the cosmos, an infant god they could call their own, and so they gathered the dead, the countless dead of the plague-ridden city, and they performed a terrible ritual, heaping bodies upon bodies, hoping that from all that stolen flesh, something divine would rise. What rose instead is the One Reborn. It is enormous, a great swaying tower of fused corpses, many faces and many limbs melded into a single groaning shape, held together by the failed prayers of the men who built it. It is not truly a god. It is a mockery of one, a botched attempt to force the cosmic and the human together, and there is something deeply sorrowful buried in its horror. All those dead who were denied their rest, pressed into service for a dream that failed. You meet it in a broad open space beneath the red moon, with ranks of bell-ringing worshippers standing on the walls above, chanting, keeping the awful thing alive with their voices. It heaves itself toward you, spitting and flailing, its many mouths moaning as one. It is grotesque, yes, but let us not dwell on the grotesque. Let us understand it instead as a tragedy of overreach, of people who wanted so badly to touch the divine that they built a monster out of the bones of their neighbours. To end it, you quiet the bells, you climb and you silence the chanting worshippers, and without their voices to sustain it, the great swaying thing begins to fail, and when the One Reborn finally comes apart, collapsing back into the sad heap of flesh it was always made from, a strange peace comes over the ruined heights. The chanting has stopped, the forced unnatural life drains away, and all those borrowed dead are, at last, only dead again, and free to rest. Let us stay a while in the red-lit quiet of the heights, now that the chanting has stopped. It is strange how peaceful a place can become once the striving in it has finally ended. The red moon hangs low and enormous over the rooftops of the hidden village, and its light lies soft and warm across the old stone, a deep, gentle crimson that is easier on the eyes than any daylight. The bells that rang all night are silent now, their echoes long since faded into the dark. The worshippers have gone quiet on their high walls, and the great swaying thing that the ritual raised has come apart and settled, and all that was forced and unnatural about this place has drained away with it. What remains is only the still red light, and the quiet rooftops, and the deep hush of a village that has finally stopped its terrible work. There is nothing to climb now, nothing to silence, nothing to end. You can simply rest here in the warm red glow, high above the sleeping city, and let the soft crimson light settle over you like a blanket drawn up in the dark. Breathe slowly. The striving is over. Let yourself grow still. So let them rest, and rest yourself alongside them. The red moon hangs quiet over Yharnam now. The bells are still. The failed miracle is over, and the grim experiment is ended, and there is nothing left up here but the soft red light and the deep silence of a place where the striving has finally stopped. Breathe slowly. Let the horror thin and fade like the last echo of a bell. You have seen what desperate hands can build, and you have laid it gently down, and now there is only the quiet. Sink into it. We still have a long way to drift together. Martyr Logarius at Canehurst. Far from Yharnam, across a long and lonely road that winds up into the cold, there stands a castle of black spires and frozen silence. It is called Canehurst, and once it was the seat of a proud and ancient bloodline, a place of nobility and secret knowledge, of pale aristocrats who kept themselves apart from the common city. Now it is a ruin of ice and ghosts, and at its very summit, upon a high and windswept rooftop, a single figure keeps an endless watch. His name is Martyr Logarius. To understand Logarius, we have to understand what Canehurst became. The nobles of this castle, the Vilebloods, followed a queen and a path of blood that the healing church came to see as a great heresy. And so the church sent its executioners, a grim order of holy warriors, to end the line of Canehurst forever. Logarius led them. He was their commander, their martyr, a man of iron faith who believed with his whole heart that what he did was righteous. He and his executioners fell upon the castle, and when their bloody work was done, Logarius did not leave. He sat down upon the highest rooftop, and he stayed, guarding the queen's resting place against any who might try to wake her, and there he has remained ever since. Long past his own death, held to his post by the sheer force of his conviction. That is the quiet horror of Logarius, and it is a very human one. He has loyalty stretched past the grave. He is a man so certain of his duty that not even death could release him from it. When you climb the frozen tower and step out onto the rooftop, he rises to meet you, a tall, dark figure crowned and robed, wielding a great scythe and a terrible sorcery. He calls down blades of light out of the cold air. He conjures a spectral crown of skulls above his head, and his power swells, and the whole rooftop seems to fill with a grave and holy dread. The fight is played out against a backdrop of endless grey sky and drifting snow, high above the dead castle, with the wind moaning through the spires below. There is a terrible dignity to him. He does not rage like a beast. He fights like a man defending something sacred, methodical and unyielding, exactly as he must have fought on the night the castle fell. Whether his cause was just as a question the game leaves open, and many who study this world debate it still, some seeing a righteous crusader, others a zealot who slaughtered a people over a matter of faith. It is gently debated, and perhaps it is meant to be. But even the most iron conviction must eventually be allowed to rest. When Logarius finally falls, his tall form crumpling upon the snow-swept stone, his crown rolls free, and the long watch is over at last. The blades of light wink out, the grave dread lifts. The rooftop is only a rooftop again, cold and high and empty, with the snow drifting down as it always has. Let the snow keep falling softly now, and let us rest a while on the high rooftop in the clean cold air. Snow has a way of hushing the whole world, of drawing a soft white quiet over everything, and it is drifting down now over the spires and the frozen stone, thick and slow and silent. Each flake wanders down through the grey air in no hurry at all, turning gently, and settles without a sound. The wind has died away to almost nothing, and the moaning that ran through the dead castle below has gone quiet. There is only the vast still sky, and the slow endless falling of the snow, and the clean cold peace of a high place at night. The old soldier has laid down his crown and his blade and his endless watch. and the rooftop holds nothing now but the drifting white and the deep grey calm. There is a particular kind of rest that comes on a snowy night, a warm, heavy stillness, as though the whole world has agreed to slow down together. Let that stillness reach you. Let the soft, endless falling of the snow slow your breath and quiet your mind. You are safe and calm on the high roof, watching the snow come down, and there is nothing left to guard. Rest, so let the snow fall softly now, and let the old soldier lay down his burden. His war is long finished. The castle sleeps beneath its ice, and the wind has gentled, and there is nothing on that high rooftop now but the slow white drift of snowflakes settling on the stone. It is peaceful up here, the clean cold peace of a mountain top at night. Let it settle over you the way the snow settles, quiet and even and unhurried. There is no duty asked of you here, no watch to keep. You can let go completely. Rest now, warm and safe, while the snow keeps falling far away. The celestial emissary in the garden. High above the city, in a hidden district reached only by lifting the veil and opening the deepest doors of the healing church, there lies a place of strange and unearthly beauty. It is the upper reaches of the cathedral ward, and beyond a certain locked gate there waits a moonlit garden, silver and still, where the boundary between this world and the world beyond the stars has worn very thin. And there, among the pale flowers, you meet the celestial emissary. The emissary is small and blue and almost gentle to look upon, a slight childlike figure with a great round head and wide dark eyes, standing amid a crowd of others just like it. These are the celestial beings, creatures touched and reshaped by contact with the cosmos, by the same forces the scholars of this world spent lifetimes trying to reach. They do not roar. They do not rage. They gather quietly in the garden under the moon, small and pale and strange, and there is something almost innocent about them, like children who have wandered in from somewhere very far away. Here we touch one of the deep and tender ideas that runs beneath all of Bloodborne, and it is worth telling softly. In this world, the ultimate hope of the scholars and the church was to ascend, to evolve beyond the limits of ordinary human life, to become closer to the Great Ones and to the vast understanding they hold. The celestial beings are, in a sense, an early and imperfect step along that road, humanity reaching toward the heavens and coming back changed, made small and strange and pale. It is gently debated exactly what they are, but the sorrow and the wonder in them is plain. They are what happens when people try to touch the stars. The one you must face swells and rises above the others, growing larger, its round head lifting, its slender arms reaching. It is not a fearsome fighter. It calls down cold light from the moon and drifts toward you across the silver garden, and the whole encounter has a dreamlike underwater slowness to it, as if it were happening at the bottom of a calm and moonlit sea. And like a dream, it ends gently. When the emissary sinks back down among the flowers and the pale light fades, the garden returns to its silver stillness. The other small beings remain quiet as ever, gazing up at the moon as though nothing has happened at all. Let us stay a while in the silver garden, in the beautiful still moonlight, before we go on. It is a lovely and peaceful place, this hidden garden high above the city, and there is no menace anywhere in it now. The small pale beings stand quietly among the flowers, gazing up at the moon with their wide, gentle eyes, calm and content and untroubled, and the flowers glow faintly around them, soft points of silver light scattered across the dark. The whole garden has the hush of a dream, a slow underwater quiet, as though everything here moves at half the speed of the waking world. Moonlight pools on the pale petals and the soft grass, cool and silver and still. There is a strange sweetness to this place, a sense of innocence and calm, of small quiet things at peace beneath a kind sky. Nothing here wants anything from you. Nothing here is in any hurry. You could wander these silver paths forever, and never feel afraid. Let the gentle glow of the flowers and the soft light of the moon settle over you now. Let your thoughts slow to the dreamlike pace of the garden. Breathe in the cool still air, and let yourself drift among the silver blooms, calm and safe and quiet. Rest, so let us leave them to their moonlit peace and take some of that peace for ourselves. The garden is hushed and cool and beautiful. The flowers glow faintly in the moonlight, and the strange small figures stand among them, calm and unbothered, looking up at a sky full of soft light. There is no menace here, only quiet and wonder and the gentle glow of the moon on the silver blooms. Let your mind wander through that beautiful still garden. Let it be as calm as the flowers, as quiet as the moonlight. Breathe slowly, and drift, and rest. Ebriatas, daughter of the cosmos. Beneath the grandest heights of the healing church, past all its holy trappings, there lies a secret the clerics kept most carefully of all. Down a long hidden way, in a vast and ruined hall called the Altar of Despair, something waits that the highest priests of Yharnam once worshipped in silence. Her name is Ebriatas, daughter of the cosmos, and she is a great one, and she is one of the most awe-inspiring and sorrowful sights in all of this world. Ebriatas is enormous, a pale and coiling mass of alien flesh, with great draping wings and a cluster of eyes and a strange mournful grace to the way she moves. She does not belong to Yharnam. She belongs to the vast cold spaces between the stars, and yet here she is, brought low, kept in the dark beneath the cathedral, tended and revered by the very church that built its faith upon her existence. For here is the secret at the rotten heart of the healing church. The blood they ministered, the miracle they sold, the whole edifice of their faith, it all traces back to contact with beings like this one. Ebriatas is, many believe, the source or the symbol of that connection, the alien mother from whom the church's power flowed. It is gently debated in the details, but the shape of it is clear enough. The holy men of Yharnam knelt in secret before a god from beyond the moon. And yet, for all her cosmic vastness, there is something in Ebriatas that reads not as malice, but as grief. The great ones of this world, the game hints again and again, are not cruel tyrants, but wounded, alien beings, many of whom have lost their own children and reached toward humanity out of some deep and unknowable sorrow. Ebriatas kneels in that ruined hall as if in mourning, and when she rises to face you it is with a terrible, sweeping sadness, calling down cosmic light, lashing out with her great pale limbs, filling the vast dark space with the sense of something ancient and grieving and utterly beyond us. The battle is enormous and strange, waged across the broken floor of the altar hall, with the ruined grandeur of the church rising all around and the alien light pouring down. It can feel less like a fight than like standing at the edge of the ocean during a storm, dwarfed by something that does not even fully perceive you as it moves. And when at last she comes to rest, her great pale body folding down upon the stone, a profound quiet fills the hall. The quiet of a cathedral after the last note of the organ has faded. Let us stay a while in the vast quiet of the altar hall, in the deep hush that has come over it. It is an enormous space, this hidden place beneath the church, its ceiling lost in shadow, its broken pillars rising all around into the dark like the ribs of some great sleeping thing. Through the ruined roof, far overhead, a few faint stars show, cold and calm and impossibly distant, and their thin light drifts down into the vastness and pulls softly on the ancient stone. The great sorrowful being that filled this hall has folded down into stillness, and the alien light that poured from it has dimmed to a gentle glow and then to nothing. What remains is only the enormous silence of a cathedral after the last note has died, that particular deep quiet that seems to have weight to it, that seems to hold you. There is nothing to understand here, there is nothing to reach for, there is only the vast still dark and the faint far stars, and the deep-worn peace of an ancient holy place at rest. Let that vastness hold you gently. Let your thoughts grow as wide and slow as the space between the stars. Breathe slowly in the great quiet, and rest. So let that vast quiet settle over you now. You have stood before a daughter of the cosmos, and you have witnessed the secret the Church spent centuries hiding, and you have come through it unbroken. The altar hall is still. The alien light has dimmed to a soft glow, and the great sorrowful being that filled it is at peace. There is nothing here now but the deep hush of an ancient holy place, and the faint far light of stars glimpsed through the ruined roof. Let your thoughts grow as wide and slow as the space between those stars. You do not need to understand it. You only need to rest beneath it, small and safe and calm. Drift now. We are more than halfway through the long night, and the deepest quiet is still ahead. Mikolash, host of the nightmare. There is a place in Bloodborne that is not quite a place at all. A labyrinth of impossible geometry and pale cold light, a dream dreamed by desperate men and turned into a prison. It is called the Nightmare of Mensis, and it belongs to a school of scholars who wanted, more than anything, to hear the voice of a god. And wandering its halls, laughing and raving and endlessly fleeing, is the man who leads them. His name is Mikolash, host of the nightmare. Mikolash was the head of a group called the School of Mensis, a circle of scholars who broke away to pursue the boldest and most dangerous dream of all. They wanted direct communion with a Great One. They wanted to reach into the cosmos and touch a mind, and be answered. And through their rituals they succeeded, at least partway, but success came at a terrible price. Mikolash and his school reached into the nightmare, and the nightmare reached back, and now his mind is trapped there, host to a dream he can never wake from, forever chasing an understanding that keeps slipping just beyond his grasp. As you pursue him through the labyrinth, he does not stand and fight like the others. He runs. He flees through the twisting halls, cackling, crying out strange and desperate things, calling for grand truths, begging to be freed into insight, to see and to know. It is one of the eeriest chases in all the game, this pursuit of a laughing madman through a maze of pale stone, glimpsing his ragged shape ahead, hearing his voice echo from rooms you have not yet reached. And here is the sorrow beneath the strangeness told gently. Mikolash is not evil so much as he is lost. He wanted knowledge with such a burning hunger that he gave up his own mind to reach it, and now he is a prisoner of his own dream, running in circles forever, so close to the enlightenment he craved, and never able to hold it. Many who study this world find him almost pitiable, a scholar who wished too hard and got his wish, and was undone by it. It is gently debated whether he suffers or exults in his nightmare, and perhaps it is both at once. When at last you corner him, and the chase comes to its end, there is something almost merciful in it. To end Mikolash is to wake him, to release him from the endless dream he could never escape on his own. His laughter fades. The frantic voice goes quiet. The labyrinth, which seemed to churn and shift with his madness, grows suddenly still. Let us stay a moment longer in the stilled labyrinth, now that the running is finally over. It is strange how peaceful the maze has become. When the dreamer raved and fled through it, the pale halls seemed to churn and shift with his madness. But now that his chase has ended, everything has gone quiet and even and calm. The cold light lies soft and unmoving on the pale stone. The impossible turnings of the maze have stopped their slow turning, and the corridors stretch away silent and empty in every direction, holding nothing now but the deep hush of a dream that has finally been allowed to end. There is no voice echoing from unseen rooms. There is no laughter, no frantic cry, no endless seeking. The poor lost scholar sleeps at last without dreaming, and his prison has become only a quiet place, cool and still and softly lit. Let that stillness reach into your own mind. Let your thoughts stop their running, the way his finally did. There is nothing more to seek tonight, nothing to solve, nothing to chase down through the dark. You can let go of all of it. Let the soft cold light and the deep quiet of the stilled maze settle over you, and rest. So let it be still now, and let the poor dreamer sleep at last without dreaming. The pale halls stand quiet and empty. The impossible geometry has stopped its slow turning. There is nothing chasing you here, and nothing to chase. Only the soft cold light and the deep silence of a dream finally allowed to end. Let the quiet of that stilled labyrinth settle into your own mind. Let your thoughts stop their running. There is nothing more to seek tonight. Nothing to solve, nothing to know. You can simply rest, safe and calm, while the nightmare grows gentle and fades. Breathe slowly, and let it carry you down. Murgo's wet nurse beneath the moon. At the very heart of the Nightmare of Mensis, at the end of all its winding halls, there is a great open loft beneath a vast and glowing moon, and there a sound has been echoing through the whole long night, a sound you may have heard from the very beginning without knowing what it was. It is the cry of an infant, distant and endless, a baby weeping somewhere in the dark. And here, at last, you come to the guardian of that cry. Her name, in the way of this world, is Murgo's wet nurse. To understand her, we must understand the grief that fills this nightmare. Murgo is an infant, a child, and many who study this world believe Murgo to be the lost offspring of a great one. A cosmic child stolen or bound or grieving, whose endless crying is the beating heart of the whole terrible dream. The scholars of Mensis reached for a god, and what they found, or what they took, was tied to this weeping child. And where there is a helpless child, there is one who guards it. The wet nurse is that guardian, a nursemaid raised to cosmic scale, a towering dark figure draped in flowing robes, with many arms each holding a curved blade, her face hidden, her whole shape wreathed in a strange and mournful darkness. She is beautiful and terrible in equal measure, this being, and the fight against her is unlike any other in the game. She summons a shroud of darkness that swallows the moonlit loft, so that you and she are alone together in a swirling black nothing, her blades flashing out of the dark, her many arms sweeping in slow and dreadful arcs. There is a strange dancing grace to her, a lullaby rhythm to her violence, as if even in battle she has not forgotten what she is, a nurse, a keeper, sworn to protect a crying child to the very end. And that is the sorrow at the centre of it, told softly. She is not a monster hunting you. She is a guardian doing the one thing guardians do, standing between you and the helpless thing she was made to protect. There is no malice in her, only duty and grief, and the endless sound of a baby that will not stop crying. To reach the source of the nightmare, you must pass her. And passing her means ending her long and faithful watch. When she finally falls, her many arms drifting down, her dark robes settling like a lowered curtain, the shroud of darkness lifts, and the great moon shines down once more upon the quiet loft. And then, gently, the crying stops. The endless infant cry that filled the whole nightmare fades into silence at last, and with it a great weight seems to lift from the entire dream. The nightmare begins, softly, to end. Let us stay a while in the moonlit loft, in the tender quiet that follows a long crying finally soothed. The great moon hangs full and low above the open space, pale and enormous and calm, and its light falls soft and silver over everything, over the old stone, over the still air, over the place where a faithful guardian laid down her many blades at last. The shroud of darkness that swallowed this place has lifted entirely, and in its place there is only the gentle moonlight and the deep restful silence that comes when a long sorrow has finally ended. The crying is over. The endless infant cry that ran beneath the whole nightmare has faded into stillness, and with it a great weight has lifted, so that the very air feels lighter, gentler, easier to breathe. There is a particular peace that comes after a child has finally been rocked to sleep, a warm and grateful hush, and that is the peace that fills the loft now. Let it fill you as well. Let the soft silver light of the great moon settle over you, and the deep quiet after the crying, and let your breath grow long and slow. There is nothing left to guard, nothing left to soothe, nothing left to grieve, only the moonlight, and the stillness, and rest. So let it end, and let the silence after the crying be a comfort now. The moon hangs full and pale and calm above the quiet loft. The darkness has cleared, the faithful nurse has laid down her blades, and the child's long sorrow is over, and there is nothing left in all that vast moonlit space but stillness and soft light. It is the deep, tender quiet that comes after a long crying child has finally been soothed to sleep. Let it soothe you too. Let your breathing slow to match the stillness. There is nothing left to guard, nothing left to grieve, only rest, deep and gentle, beneath the quiet moon. Ludwig, the Accursed. Now we leave the city and the nightmare of Mensis behind, and we go somewhere older and stranger still, into the memory of the hunters themselves, into a nightmare born from the guilt of the hunt. This is the hunter's nightmare, and the first great terror waiting within it is a hunter you may already know by name, though you have never seen his true face. He is Ludwig, and once he was a hero, and now he is the Accursed. Ludwig was the very first of the church hunters, the founder of an order of holy hunters who took up arms to protect Yharnam from the beast plague. He was a good man, a shining figure, the one who gave the frightened hunters of the church a light to follow in the dark. There is a blade named for him, a moonlight sword, a symbol of everything noble the hunt was supposed to be. And yet here, in the nightmare, we find what became of that noble founder, and it is one of the most powerful and sorrowful reveals in all of Bloodborne. For when you first meet Ludwig, he is a beast. A vast and monstrous thing gallops out of a lake of blood. A nightmare of fused horse and rider and horror, all snapping jaws and thundering limbs, with no trace of the man left in it. The first great hunter, the noble founder of the order, has been dragged down by the same beasthood he spent his life fighting. He charges through the blood, mindless and ruined, and there seems to be nothing human left to reach. But then something extraordinary happens, and it is the reason Ludwig's story stays with people long after. Partway through the fight, if a certain holy blade catches the light, Ludwig sees it. He recognises it. And out of the mindless beast, a voice rises, weak and disbelieving and full of wonder. He asks whether that is truly a hunter he sees before him, whether the light he glimpsed was truly a beacon, a good and holy sign in all this darkness. The man surges back up through the monster. He remembers what he was, and why he fought, and for a moment the beast is a hero again, a knight recalling his oath. And so the second half of the fight is not against a mindless horror at all. It is against Ludwig himself, restored, a great and gallant hunter wielding the moonlight blade, fighting now not out of rage but out of duty, out of the desperate hope that he might still, even here, even like this, do some good. He fights you as a hero, and when at last he falls, he does not curse or howl. He asks, softly, whether the good hunters are still guiding lost souls to the light. He dies believing he was, in the end, still a beacon. It may be the gentlest and most heartbreaking death in the whole game. Let us stay a moment longer with the memory of the old hero, now that his story has found its gentle end. The lake of blood has gone still and dark, and the nightmare has quieted around his fallen shape, and what lingers in the air is not horror at all, but something closer to grace. He died believing the light still shone, believing the good hunters still guided lost souls safely home, and there is a deep sweetness in that, a mercy, the kind of ending a weary heart hopes for. Let that sweetness soften everything now. The dark waters lie calm and unmoving. The strange cold light of the nightmare has dimmed to a soft and restful glow. There is a hush over this place, the tender hush that follows any story that ends in peace rather than sorrow, and it settles gently over the still dark lake and over you along with it. The hero has laid down his blade. His long fall is finished, and in the end he was still, in the way that mattered most, a light in the dark. Let the memory of that light be a comfort. Let your breath grow slow and your body grow heavy, and let the quiet after his gentle passing carry you softly down. Rest, so let his last hope be a comfort. Ludwig died as he wished to die, believing the light still shone, believing the hunt still meant something kind. The lake of blood grows still. The nightmare quiets around his fallen shape. And though his story is sad, it ends in grace, in a good man's dying wish that others were still being led safely home. Let that grace settle over you now. There is nothing frightening here anymore, only the memory of a hero who never quite stopped being one, resting at last. Breathe slowly, let the sorrow soften into peace, and drift on into the quiet. The living failures in the research hall. Not far within the hunter's nightmare there stands a tall and terrible building, a place of study and suffering, called the research hall. It was here that the scholars of the church tried, in secret, to make people into something more, to grow eyes on the inside, to force the ascension the church so desperately craved. And the results of those experiments wander the hall still. Patients half remade, minds broken, bodies changed. Above the hall, in a moonlit garden reached by a long slow lift, you meet the saddest of them all, gathered together. The ones the game calls the living failures. The name alone tells you almost everything, and it should be spoken with tenderness. These are the failures. They are the patients the church could not perfect, the experiments that did not ascend, the people who were reshaped in the hope of touching the cosmos, and who instead became these small, pale, drifting things. They gather in the moonlit garden atop the hall, slender and childlike, glowing faintly, moving with a slow and dreamlike sorrow. There is nothing in them that wants to hurt you out of cruelty. They are simply what is left of a hope that failed. When the fight begins, they call down cold showers of starlight, a rain of pale meteors drifting from the moon above, beautiful and slow, and they gather in their small, mournful ranks and drift toward you across the garden. It is one of the gentler battles in the game, more like moving through a strange, sad dream than fighting a monster. The whole scene has the hush of a place where something terrible has already happened, long ago, and only the quiet aftermath remains. Here we should pause on the sorrow of it, gently, and then set it down. These were people. Someone loved them once, before the church took them into the research hall and tried to remake them. Their failure was not their own. It belonged to the men who experimented on them, who reached too far and left these drifting remnants behind. To end them is a mercy, a release from an existence that was only ever a kind of lingering. And when the last of them settles, sinking softly to the garden floor beneath the falling starlight, a deep peace comes over the moonlit garden. The pale showers cease. The slow, sad drifting stops. The failures are failures no longer, only quiet now, at rest beneath the moon they were made to reach for, and never could. Let us stay a while in the moonlit garden atop the hall, in the deep peace that has settled over it. It is a quiet and lovely place now, this garden, for all the sorrow that once filled it. The moon hangs bright and calm overhead, and its light lies soft and silver across the still flowers and the pale grass. The showers of cold starlight have stopped falling, and the slow sad drifting has ended. And what remains is only the gentle glow of the moon and the deep restful hush of a place where a long suffering has finally been laid to rest. There is a tenderness in the air here, the particular tenderness that comes when something that lingered too long is at last allowed to be still. The flowers stir faintly in a breeze you can barely feel. The silver light pools quietly on the ground. There is nothing here now that wants anything, nothing that suffers, nothing that reaches. Only the calm moon, and the still garden, and the soft silver quiet. Let that quiet settle over you the way the moonlight settles over the flowers, gentle and even and complete. Let your thoughts drift as softly as those pale meteors once fell, down and down, slower and slower, into stillness. Rest here, safe and calm, beneath the kind and patient moon. So let them rest, and let the garden be peaceful. The moon hangs bright and calm above the still flowers. The starlight has stopped falling. There is nothing left up here but soft light and silence, and the gentle sense of a long sorrow finally ended. Let that gentleness reach you. You have witnessed the cost of reaching too far, and you have laid it kindly down, and now there is only the quiet garden and the calm moon. Breathe slowly. Let your own thoughts drift as softly as those pale meteors, down and down, into rest. Lorenz, the first vicar. Deep within the hunter's nightmare, in a place that was once the grand cathedral of Yharnam, but is now a ruin of ash and slow-moving fire, there sits a beast upon a throne of cinders. It does not move at first, it only waits, a great charred skull crowned and still, and when it wakes it, becomes one of the most fearsome sights in all the nightmare. This is Lorenz, the first vicar, and his story is the story of how all of Yharnam's sorrow began. To understand Lorenz, we have to go back to the very beginning, to a time before the healing church, before the beast plague, before the long nights of the hunt. Lorenz was a scholar at Bergenworth, a student of the old master who first uncovered the secrets that would doom the city, and where his master counselled caution, Lorenz burned with ambition. He believed in the blood, in its power to heal and to elevate, and he broke away to found the healing church and to spread that blood to all of Yharnam. He became its first vicar, its first great leader, the man who gave the city its miracle, and in doing so he gave it the beast plague as well, for the blood that heals is the blood that turns. Every beast in every chapter of this long night traces back, in the end, to the choice Lorenz made, and Lorenz did not escape the consequences of his own creation. He, the first vicar, the founder of the whole church, was among those who fell to the very scourge he had unleashed. He became a beast, a great burning thing, and here in the nightmare his memory endures, seated in ash upon the ruin of the cathedral he built, forever burning, forever unable to rest. There may be no more fitting or more terrible fate in all the game than this. The man who gave Yharnam its curse, condemned to smoulder eternally in the ashes of his own dream. When he wakes and rises from his throne, he is a wall of flame and fury, a great beast wreathed in fire, spilling burning blood across the ruined floor with every heavy step. The whole encounter takes place amid drifting ash and slow orange light, in the hollowed-out shell of the sacred place his ambition ruined. And yet, even here, the game asks for a measure of pity. For all the sorrow he caused, Lorenz too is a victim of it now, trapped in an endless burning, unable to die, unable to be free. To end him is in its way to grant a mercy long overdue. When Lorenz finally falls, the flames guttering out, the great charred skull coming to rest at last upon the ash, a profound stillness settles over the ruined cathedral. The burning stops. The endless smouldering that was his punishment ends, and the man who began it all is, at last, allowed to be still. Let us stay a while in the ruined cathedral, now that the long burning has finally gone out. It is strange how peaceful a place can become once its fire has died. All night this ruin smouldered, wreathed in slow orange flame and drifting ash. But the fire is spent now, and what remains is only the soft grey stillness that follows any blaze that has finally burned itself out. The ash lies deep and quiet over the old stone, soft as new snow, and it deadens every sound, so that the whole vast ruin holds a hush, so complete you could almost hear your own heart beat slow. Thin traces of pale smoke rise here and there, and curl gently into the dark and vanish. The heat is gone. The fury is gone. The endless smouldering that was a first sin's endless punishment has finally ended, and the ancient sorrow that began everything has come at last to rest here in the cool grey ash. There is a deep and even calm in a fire long extinguished, a settling, a letting go. Let that calm settle over you now. Let the soft grey stillness and the quiet drifting smoke and the deep hush of the ash draw your breath out long and slow. There is nothing left to burn. You are safe in the cool quiet. Rest, so let the fires die down now, and let the ash settle softly. The ruined cathedral grows quiet and cool. The long burning is over. Whatever Lawrence did, whatever chain of sorrow he set in motion so long ago, it has finally come to rest here in the ashes, and there is nothing left but the soft grey stillness of a fire long extinguished. Let that stillness settle over you the way the ash settles, slow and gentle and complete. The beginning of all this sorrow has reached its ending. You are safe and calm, and there is nothing left to burn. Rest now, and let the quiet carry you deeper still. Lady Maria of the Astral Clock Tower. High in the research hall, at the top of a long spiral stair, there is a clock tower, and within it a quiet room where an old wheelchair sits before a great window full of moonlight. And there, still and patient as if she has been waiting a very long time, sits a figure who guards the deepest and most painful secret of the whole nightmare. Her name is Lady Maria of the Astral Clock Tower, and of all the terrors of this long night, she may be the most graceful and the most sorrowful. Maria was a hunter, and a great one, from the noble blood of Canehurst, that same doomed and aristocratic line whose castle we walked long ago. She came to the healing church and became a hunter of the highest order, elegant and deadly, a master of the blade. But Maria carried a terrible knowledge and a terrible grief, for she was bound up in the darkest deed the hunters ever did, an act committed long ago on a lonely shore, a cruelty against something innocent that set the whole hunter's nightmare in motion. Maria could not bear what she had been part of. She turned away from it. She tried to bury the secret, to keep others from finding the fishing hamlet by the sea where the sin was committed, and she took up her post in the clock tower to guard the way, and there she has kept her watch ever since. When you enter her quiet moonlit room, she does not attack at once. She speaks to you, softly, wearily, telling you to turn back, that a corpse should be left well alone, that there is nothing down that road but grief. She does not want to fight. She wants only to protect you, and to protect the world from a truth too heavy to carry. But you cannot turn back, and so, with a kind of resigned sorrow, she rises from her chair, takes up her blade, and becomes the guardian she has always been. And what a guardian. Maria fights like a dancer, swift and elegant and precise, her blade flashing in the moonlight, her movements beautiful even as they are deadly. As the fight goes on, she draws upon her own blood, wreathing her weapon in it, calling upon the very power she has spent so long trying to renounce. There is a terrible poetry in it, this graceful woman fighting with the cursed blood she hates, guarding a secret that has already broken her heart. and here the sorrow deepens, and we tell it gently. Maria is not fighting to win. She is fighting because she cannot let the sin be uncovered, and yet part of her knows the truth cannot stay buried forever. When at last she falls, she does so without bitterness. She seems almost relieved, as if the long weight of her watch has finally been lifted from her shoulders. Her guarded secret lies open now, but her own burden is set down. Let us stay a while in the quiet clock tower room, in the soft moonlight, before we go on. It is a still and peaceful place now, this high chamber, with its great window full of silver light, and its empty chair waiting patiently in the calm. The moon pours in through the tall glass, soft and cool and even, and lies across the floor in a wide pale pane. And beneath everything there is the sound of the great clock, its slow and steady ticking, marking off the quiet hours one by one, a gentle, unhurried rhythm that fills the room without ever disturbing it. There is something deeply restful in that sound. The patient tick and tick of an old clock in a quiet room at night, the way it seems to slow the whole world down to match it. The graceful guardian has laid her blade aside. The long weight she carried has finally lifted from her, and the room she watched over so faithfully holds nothing now but moonlight and silence, and that soft, steady ticking. Let it slow your breathing. Let each gentle tick draw you a little deeper towards stillness, a little further into calm. The watch is over. There is nothing to guard, nothing to fear, nothing to do but rest here in the moonlight, held by the quiet ticking of the old clock. Let yourself drift. So let her rest, this weary and graceful guardian, and let the clock tower grow quiet. The moonlight pours through the great window, soft and silver, filling the still room. The blade is laid aside. The long watch is over, and the sorrow she carried so faithfully for so long has finally been allowed to fade. There is nothing in the tower now but moonlight and silence and the slow, calm ticking of the great clock, marking off the quiet hours. Let that gentle rhythm slow your breathing. Let the moonlight settle over you the way it settles over the empty chair. You are safe here, and calm, and there is nothing left to guard. Rest and drift, and let the soft ticking carry you down towards sleep. The Orphan of Kos, at the very end of the hunter's nightmare, past the clock tower and its weary guardian, a long stair descends toward the sound of the sea, and the world opens onto a grey and desolate shore beneath a heavy sky. This is the fishing hamlet, a ruined village by a cold ocean, and it is the place where the deepest sin of the hunters was committed, long ago. And upon the wet sand, beside the vast washed-up body of a dead god, waits the last and most harrowing terror of the nightmare. It is the Orphan of Kos. To stand on that shore is to feel the whole weight of Bloodborne settle onto your shoulders, so let us carry it gently. Long ago, before the church, before Bergenworth even, a great one came to this coast, a being from beyond the stars called Kos. And Kos was found dead upon the shore, washed up on the sand, and within her a child still stirred. The hunters and scholars who came to this hamlet did a terrible thing here. They took what they wanted from the dead god and from the people of the village, and in their cruelty they left behind a curse, an orphan, a grieving cosmic child born onto the sand beside its dead mother. The hunter's nightmare itself, this whole realm of guilt and burning and sorrow, is many believe the curse of Kos, the endless punishment visited upon the hunters for what they did here. It is gently debated in its every detail, as the deepest lore of this world always is, but the grief of it is beyond dispute. The orphan is born before your eyes, rising screaming from the body of its mother, a pale and terrible newborn thing, and it takes up a weapon made from a piece of Kos herself, and comes at you across the sand with a fury that is really only grief given claws. It shrieks like a gull, like a storm, like a child that has never known a single moment of comfort, And that is the truth of this final horror, and it is almost unbearably sad. The orphan is not evil. It is a newborn, alone, in pain, screaming beside its dead mother on a cold and empty shore, lashing out at the world that wronged it before it ever drew breath. The fight is long and desperate, waged in the rain and the surf, lightning splitting the grey sky, the orphan wheeling and shrieking and striking with terrible speed. It is one of the hardest and most storied battles in all the game, and beneath its ferocity there runs a current of pure sorrow, the sense that you are not fighting a monster so much as ending a suffering that never should have begun. And when at last the orphan falls, its shrieking fades, and it crawls, in its final moments, back toward the body of its mother, reaching for the comfort it was never given. Kos stirs just slightly in death. And then the shore is still. The storm passes. The endless grief that filled the nightmare quiets at last, and a great and terrible chapter of this world's sorrow finally comes to a close. Let us stay a while on the quiet shore now, with the storm past and the grieving finally ended. The rain has softened to the finest mist, cool and gentle on the air, and beyond it the grey sea rolls slow and endless against the sand. In and out, the oldest and most soothing rhythm in all the world. There is no sound here now but the surf, that deep and patient breathing of the ocean, drawing up the shore and sliding back, drawing up and sliding back, tireless and calm. The heavy sky has lightened just slightly toward the pale grey of a coming dawn, and the long empty beach stretches away into the mist, wet and smooth and still. The shrieking is over. The great sorrow that filled this place has quieted at last, and what remains is only the soft sea, and the cool mist, and the wide grey peace of a shore at the edge of the world. There is a deep calm in the sound of the ocean, a calm older than any grief. And it is all around you now, moving slow and steady in the mist. Let it reach you. Let your breath fall into rhythm with the waves, drawing in as they draw up the sand, letting go as they slide back to the sea. Breathe with the ocean, slow and endless, and drift, and rest. So let it close, and let the grieving child rest beside its mother at last. The rain softens to a gentle mist. The grey sea rolls slow and quiet against the sand, in and out, the oldest and most soothing rhythm there is. The shrieking is over. The long sorrow of this shore is ended, and there is nothing here now but the soft grey light, the whisper of the surf, and a deep and final peace. Let the sound of the sea reach you. Let it move in and out, slow and endless, and let it carry away the last of the sadness. You are safe here on the quiet shore. Breathe with the waves, and drift, and rest. The watchdog of the Old Lord. Beneath Yharnam, far below its streets and cathedrals, there is a hidden world of stone, an underground labyrinth of ancient tombs and forgotten halls, carved long ago by a civilization older than the city itself. These are the Chalice dungeons, the burial depths of the Thumerians, and to descend into them is to walk backward through time, toward the very roots of everything that has happened above. And guarding the deep places of these tombs, again and again, is a great flaming hound called the Watchdog of the Old Lords. The Watchdog is a beast of the underworld, huge and dark and skeletal, wreathed in fire, pacing the ancient stone chamber it has been set to guard. It is not a person lost to the plague, nor a god from beyond the stars. It is something simpler and older, a guardian beast placed here long ago by the lords of this buried kingdom to keep watch over their tombs and their treasures for all eternity. It has kept that watch faithfully, in the dark, for longer than Yharnam has existed. When you descend into its chamber, it wakes, and fire pours from its body, and it hurls itself at you across the ancient floor, trailing flame. its whole shape lit orange in the gloom of the tomb. There is something almost primal about it, stripped of all the tragedy and cosmic sorrow of the bosses above. Just a great burning guard dog doing the one thing it was made to do, defending the resting places of long-dead kings. And here, in the deep quiet of the tombs, there is a kind of relief in that simplicity. No sad story unfolds. No noble hero is revealed beneath the beast. There is only an ancient guardian and its ancient duty, and the fire and the old cold stone all around. When the watchdog falls, the flames sink and gutter and go out, and the chamber returns to its deep underground silence. The way onward, deeper into the tombs, lies open. But the way onward can wait. Let us stay a while in the deep quiet of the tombs, in the cool patient dark beneath the world. It is a still and restful place, this ancient chamber, now that its fire has gone out. The old stone holds a silence so complete and so long kept that it seems to have a weight and a texture of its own, a silence you could almost lean into. The Guardian's flames have sunk and guttered and died, and the deep dark has closed back over everything, soft and cool and even. There is a particular peace to being far underground, wrapped in the ancient patience of the earth, held within walls that have stood in stillness for 1,000 years and will stand 1,000 more. No wind reaches here, no light, no sound but the vast quiet of the deep stone. It is the kind of dark you could sink into like deep water and simply rest, cradled by the enormous calm of the earth itself. Let that ancient stillness settle into you now. Far below the sleeping city, far from every terror of the night above, you are safe in the cool deep dark, held by the patient quiet of the tombs. Let your breath grow slow and even. Let yourself sink gently into the calm. Rest, so let the fire die, and let the deep dark of the tombs settle around you, cool and quiet and still. The old stone holds the silence the way it has held it for 1,000 years. The Guardian's fire is spent, and its long watch is for now at rest. There is nothing down here but the soft dark and the vast patient quiet of the earth itself. Let that ancient stillness settle into your bones. Deep beneath the sleeping city, far from every terror of the night above, you are safe and calm and held by the quiet of the deep. Breathe slowly. Rest. The bloodletting beast. Deeper still into the chalice dungeons, past the flaming watchdogs and the old cold halls, there waits a horror that shows you the beast plague in one of its most extreme and dreadful forms. It is called the bloodletting beast, and it is what happens when the scourge is fed and given nothing but blood, down here in the dark, for a very long time. The bloodletting beast is enormous, a towering thing of raw and glistening flesh, its skin torn away, its body a mass of exposed sinew and gore. It moves on all fours and rears up to strike, and at the height of its fury it will tear a shard of bone free from its own body and wield it as a weapon against you. It is one of the most physically grotesque creatures in all the game, and here more than anywhere it matters that we tell the horror softly and briefly, and then set it down. For beneath the gore, the story of the bloodletting beast is the same sad story we have heard all night, taken to its furthest and most terrible extreme. This was, perhaps, a person, or many people, given over entirely to the blood, kept in the depths, fed on nothing but the scourge until every trace of humanity was drowned in it. It is not cruel, it is not scheming, it is simply the beast plague with nothing left to hold it back, a pure and mindless hunger that was once, unimaginably long ago, something that could think and feel and hope. The fight is brutal and close, waged in a stone arena deep beneath the world, the great skinless thing hurling itself at you again and again. But even the most furious beast tires, and falls, and when the bloodletting beast at last comes down, the ancient chamber grows quiet, and the terrible hunger that drove it is finally, mercifully, stilled. Let us climb back toward the quiet now, and leave the dark arena behind, and rest a while in the cool still stone. The fury is spent. The great skinless horror has come down at last, and the chamber it filled has returned to the deep patient silence of the tombs. It is strange how gentle a place can feel once its violence has finally ended, how the same cold stone that echoed with such rage a moment ago can hold such a complete and restful quiet. The dark has closed softly over everything. The air is cool and still, and smells of ancient stone and deep earth. There is nothing here now that hungers, nothing that suffers, nothing that strains. Whatever drove that endless hunger has drained away into the cold floor and gone silent, and the chamber holds only the vast calm of the deep places, the enormous unhurried patience of the earth. Let that calm reach you. Let the cool, still dark settle over you like deep, quiet water, and let the memory of everything harsh and furious thin away and vanish into the ancient silence. You have come through the worst the plague can do, and it is behind you now, far behind you, and there is only the soft deep dark and the great restful quiet of the world below. Breathe slowly. Rest, so let us not dwell in that dark arena. Let us climb back toward the quiet, and leave the skinless horror to its rest. The chamber falls silent. The fury is spent. Whatever suffering fed that endless hunger is over now, drained away into the cold stone, and there is nothing left but the deep and patient quiet of the tombs. Let that quiet reach you, and wash the horror clean away. You have looked upon the worst the plague can do, and you have come through it, and it is behind you now. There is only the soft dark and the stillness of the deep. Breathe slowly, and let yourself sink into the calm. Rest. The abhorrent beast, in the very oldest and deepest of the buried kingdoms, in a cursed and ruined land called Lauren that lies beneath even the Thumerian tombs, there stalks a beast that carries a dreadful warning within it. It is called the abhorrent beast, and where the other beasts of this long night were shaped by the blood, this one is shaped by lightning, by the strange cosmic energies that the deepest and most forbidden places of this world hold within them. Lauren is a place of sand and ruin and curse, a kingdom that was, many believe, destroyed by its own beast scourge long before Yharnam ever rose, a grim echo of the fate the city above now faces. And the abhorrent beast is the guardian and the symbol of that fallen kingdom, a great dark beast that crackles with electric power, calling lightning down upon its foes, pacing the ruins of a civilization that its kind helped to destroy. To meet it is to look upon Yharnam's own possible future, a warning written in sand and lightning, of what becomes of a people who let the beast plague run its full and final course. When it rises to face you, the air itself seems to charge, and arcs of lightning play across its dark and monstrous frame. It fights with a wild and storm-lit fury, filling the ruined chamber with flashes of blue-white light, a beast of thunder in a kingdom of dust. There is a bleak grandeur to it, this last guardian of a dead land, still keeping its watch over ruins that no longer hold anyone to protect. And yet even the storm must pass. When the aberrant beast falls, the lightning fades from its body, the crackling air grows still, and the ancient ruins of Lauren return to their long silence. The warning has been delivered. The guardian is at rest. Let us stay a while in the fallen kingdom of sand, in the vast quiet that has settled over its ruins. It is a still and lonely place, Lorraine, but with the storm spent from the air there is a deep restfulness to its emptiness, the peace of a desert at night. The lightning is gone. That prickling charge that filled the ruined halls has faded entirely, and in its place there is only the soft cool dark and the slow settling of the dust. The old broken walls lean quietly against the drifting sand, patient as they have been for ages beyond counting, and above them the dark sky stretches wide and calm and full of the deep silence of a world long asleep. A little sand shifts somewhere and grows still. There is nothing here now that means you any harm, nothing that stirs, nothing that waits. Only the ruins and the sand and the vast quiet of a kingdom that finished its story long ago and lay down to rest. Let that quiet settle over you the way the dust settles over the old stone, slow and even and complete. Let your thoughts grow as wide and still as the desert night. The warning is heard and the danger is long past, and you are safe in the soft deep dark. Breathe slowly and let go of everything and rest. So let the storm pass and let the quiet return to that fallen kingdom. The lightning is spent. The ruined halls of Loran lie still beneath their blanket of sand, holding the same deep silence they have held for uncounted years. There is nothing here now but the soft dark and the settling dust and the vast patient quiet of a world long asleep. Let that quiet settle over you the way the dust settles, slow and even and complete. The warning is heard, and the danger is past, and you are safe in the deep and gentle dark. Breathe slowly. Let go of everything. Rest, Yharnam, Pthumerian Queen, at the very bottom of the buried world, past every flaming watchdog and skinless horror and lightning-wreathed guardian, in the deepest and most sacred chamber of the oldest tombs, there sits a queen upon a throne of stone. She does not rise as you enter. She does not speak. She only sits, veiled and silent, and weeps tears of blood, and her sorrow fills the ancient chamber like cold water filling a well. This is Yharnam, the Pthumerian Queen, and the city above you is named for her. To understand her is to understand the deepest root of everything, so let us approach it softly. Long before the healing church, long before Bergenworth, long before the city of Yharnam ever laid a single stone, there was a great and ancient civilization beneath the earth, the Pthumerians, a people who had already made contact with the Great Ones and already learned to weave their power. Yharnam was their queen, and she was, many believe, chosen or touched by a Great One, and she bore a child, an infant of tremendous cosmic significance. That child, many who study this world believe, is Murgo, the same weeping infant whose cry echoed through the Nightmare of Mensis all those chapters ago. It is gently debated in its every particular, but the shape of the sorrow is clear. The queen lost her child, or had her child taken, and her grief is so vast and so old that it has outlasted her entire civilization, and it lingers here still, in the deepest dark, long after everything she ruled has crumbled to dust. That is why she weeps. That is why the whole chamber seems to ache. She is a mother whose grief became eternal, sitting alone at the bottom of the world, mourning a loss so ancient that the very city of Yharnam, all its cathedrals and its blood and its hunters, rose and fell in the long shadow of her sorrow without her ever once looking up. When at last she stirs to face you, she moves with a slow and mournful grace, calling upon the old Pthumerian power, blood rising at her command. There is no rage in her, only grief-given motion, a sorrow so deep it has forgotten it was ever anything else. To fight her is to feel like an intruder upon something private and sacred, a grief that was never meant to be disturbed. And when she falls quietly, sinking down without a cry, and the weeping stops at last, and the deepest chamber of the oldest world grows utterly still. The most ancient sorrow in all of Bloodborne, the grief from which so much else in some sense flowed, finally comes to rest here in the dark where it began. Let us stay a while in the deepest chamber, in the ancient hush that has settled over it, before we begin the long climb back toward the light. It is the stillest place in all the world, this oldest of tombs, and the silence here is older than the city above, older than the church, older than every sorrow of the long night. The blood tears have stopped. The weeping queen has sunk at last into stillness, and her grief, the most ancient grief in all this world, has finally been laid down here in the dark where it first began. What remains is a quiet so deep and so complete that it seems to hold everything gently, the way still water holds a reflection. The old stone stands silent all around, patient beyond imagining, keeping the calm it has kept since before there were any words for it. There is nothing to disturb it now. There is only the soft deep dark, and the vast complete peace of a sorrow finally at rest. Let that ancient calm settle all the way through you. You have descended to the very bottom of this world, to the root of all its grief, and found it, and let it rest, and now there is only stillness, old and gentle and whole. Breathe slowly. You are safe at the bottom of everything, held in the deep quiet. Rest, so let her rest, this oldest and saddest of queens, and let the deep chamber grow peaceful around her still form. The blood tears have stopped. The ancient stone holds a silence older than the city, older than the church, older than every terror of the night above. There is nothing here now but the soft dark and the vast, complete quiet of a grief finally laid down. Let that quiet settle all the way through you. You have descended to the very bottom of this world's sorrow, and found it, and let it rest, and now there is only peace, deep and old and gentle. Breathe slowly. You are safe at the bottom of everything, held in the quiet. Rest now, and let us begin the long climb back toward the moonlight, and the end of the hunt. Gehrman, the first hunter. The long night is almost over now. When at last the hunt is done, when the beasts are quieted and the gods are met and the sky begins, faintly, to think about growing light, you return to the one place that has been your refuge through all of it. A small workshop in a quiet field of soft white flowers, under a gentle sky, a place outside the world called the Hunter's Dream. And there, in his wheelchair beneath the flowering tree where he has sat this whole long night, waits the old man who has guided you from the very beginning. His name is Gehrman, the first hunter. And now, at the end, he has one last thing to offer you. Gehrman was the very first of all the hunters, the founder of the workshop, the one who taught the hunters of Yharnam their craft in the earliest days, before the church, before the long descent into the plague. He is old now, unimaginably old, his body frail, his hunting days long behind him. And Gehrman is not free. He is bound to this dream, kept here by the strange pale being that watches over it, made into its servant, its caretaker, the gentle old man who greets each new hunter and sends them out into the night. He has done this for longer than he can remember, and he is so very tired. Through all your long night he has been kind to you, a patient teacher, a steady voice, almost a father, and now, as the hunt ends and the dawn approaches, he offers you his final kindness. He tells you the night is nearly over, that the dream is a prison, and that there is a way to wake from all of it and be free. And then, softly, sorrowfully, he offers to release you himself, to let you lay your head down and simply wake up in the morning, the whole nightmare behind you like a fever finally broken. Here the game gives you a choice, and it is the choice the whole long night has been leading toward. You may accept his offer, and lower your head, and let the good old hunter grant you a peaceful end to the dream, waking to a Yharnam morning with the beasts gone and the night finished. It is a gentle ending, and there is no shame in it. Or you may refuse, and if you do, Gehrman rises from his chair, takes up his great curved blade, and with deep reluctance becomes your final trial, for he cannot let you defy the dream so easily. And if you fight him, it is the saddest duel of all, waged among the white flowers under the wide soft sky, the old first hunter moving with all the grace of his ancient art, his blade whispering through the petals. He does not want this, neither do you, but he fights you all the same, because he too, in his heart, longs for release, and perhaps hopes, in some quiet way, that you might be the one to finally free him from the dream that has held him so long. When it is done, however it is done, whether you bow your head or cross your blade with his, a great weariness seems to lift from the old man at last. His long service is ending. The dream is loosening its hold. Whatever comes next, Gehrman's endless night of tending lost hunters is finally, mercifully, drawing to a close. Let us rest a while longer in the dream, among the soft white flowers, before the very end. It is the gentlest place in all the world, this quiet field beneath the great tree, and the whole long night has always led back here, to this calm. The flowers stretch away pale and soft in every direction, stirring faintly whenever a breeze breathes through them, and the great tree spreads its branches overhead against a wide and gentle sky. The light here is kind, a soft and even glow that never quite becomes day and never quite becomes night, a light made for resting in. The old hunter's chair sits quiet beneath the tree, and his long weariness is nearly lifted from him now, and there is a deep and tender peace across the whole dreaming field. There is nothing here that could ever hurt you. There is only the soft grass, and the pale flowers, and the whisper of the wind, and the great calm tree, and the wide quiet sky. You have come so very far, through the whole long night, past every beast and every god, and now you are nearly home, resting in the gentlest place there is. Let it hold you. Let the soft flowers and the kind light and the quiet breeze draw your breath out long and slow. The end is near, and it is gentle. Rest here in the dream. So let us rest a moment here in the dream, among the soft white flowers, before the very end. The field is quiet and gentle. The great tree stirs faintly in a breeze you can barely feel. The old hunter's long watch is nearly over, and there is a deep and tender peace in this place, the peace of a hard journey almost home. Let it settle over you. Let the soft petals and the wide calm sky and the gentle old dream hold you now. You have come so far, through the whole long night, and the end is near, and it is kind. Breathe slowly. Rest here in the flowers, safe and calm, while the dawn draws quietly closer. The moon presence and the dawn. And so we come to the very end of the long night, to the last and strangest presence of all, the one who has been watching over everything from the very beginning, unseen, from just beyond the edge of the dream. When the old first hunter's trial is finished, if a certain deep and secret path has been walked, the pale being that rules the hunter's dream descends at last to meet you face to face. This is the moon presence, and it is the quiet god at the centre of the whole story. The moon presence is a great one, like Amygdala and Ebriatus and Kos before it, but of a gentler and more melancholy kind. It is pale and moonlit, with a soft trailing shape and a strange mournful face, and it is the being that created the hunter's dream, that bound Gehrman to it, that has kept the whole cycle of the hunt turning through the long ages. Many who study this world believe it is a lonely thing, a great one that lost its own kind, and gathered the hunters to itself out of some deep and alien need, keeping them in its dream the way a grieving parent might keep a memory. It is gently debated, as all the deepest things here are, but the loneliness in it is easy to feel. When it descends, drifting down through the pale light, it reaches for you almost tenderly, meaning to make you the new caretaker of its dream, the next in the endless line of hunters bound to serve it, just as Gehrman was bound before you. And here, in the final moment of the whole game, you are given your last and greatest choice. you may submit and take up Gehrman's old place and become the dream's new keeper. Or, if you have walked the deepest and most secret path of the night, if you have gathered certain small strange relics and taken into yourself a measure of the cosmos, you may refuse even this, and turn to face the pale god as an equal, and end its hold over you forever. And if you choose that final defiance, the last battle of the night unfolds in the quiet dream, you against the moon-faced god, pale light all around, the whole long story coming down to this single soft and dreadful meeting. It is a strange and haunting fight, gentler than many that came before, and beneath it runs the same current of sorrow that has run beneath everything, the sense that even this god, this ruler of the dream, is only another lonely and grieving thing reaching for something it has lost. When the moon presence falls, the dream itself begins to fade, and depending on the path you walked, the night ends in one of a few quiet ways. Perhaps you wake in a Yharnam morning, the hunt behind you, the sun rising over the old rooftops. Perhaps you take your place in the dream, a new caretaker in the workshop, watching over the hunters yet to come. Or perhaps, having consumed a measure of the cosmos, you are yourself transformed, lifted up into something new and small and strange, a newborn great one, and the endless cycle of the hunt is, at last, truly broken. All the endings are quiet. All of them, in their way, are a kind of dawn. Let us stay a while in the coming dawn, in the soft grey light of the ending night, and let everything grow calm and complete. The dream is fading gently now, dissolving into morning the way dreams do, softly, without any pain. Whatever ending the night has brought, all of them are quiet. All of them are a kind of dawn, and the pale light rising over the old rooftops of Yharnam is warm and even and kind. The beasts are all quieted. The gods are all met. The lonely presence at the centre of the dream has been eased at last, and the long cycle of the hunt has come, in its way, to rest. There is nothing left to do now, nothing left to fear, nothing left to face. The whole long story has been told, from the first beast on the misted bridge to this final soft grey morning, and every terror in it, without exception, was in the end laid gently down. What remains is only the quiet coming of the day, the pale light spreading slow across the sleeping city, the deep and complete calm of a journey finished and a night survived. Let it settle over you, warm and gentle and whole. You have come all the way through. Let your breath grow long and slow, and let the soft dawn carry you the rest of the way down into peace. So let the dawn come now, softly, and let the long night finally rest. The dream is fading gently into morning light. The pale god's loneliness is eased at last, and the beasts are all quieted, and the gods are all met, and there is nothing left in all of Yharnam but the soft grey light of a coming day. Let it settle over you, warm and calm and complete. The hunt is over. Every terror of the night is behind you, and every one of them, in the end, was laid gently down to rest. Let yourself rest now too, deeply, safely, held in the quiet of the dawn. Good night. We have walked the whole long night together, from the first beast on the misted bridge to the pale god at the edge of the dream. We have met the hunters who lost themselves, the clerics undone by their own miracle, the guardians faithful past death, the grieving gods from beyond the moon, and the weeping queen at the bottom of the world. And one by one we laid every one of them gently down to rest. There is nothing left to fear now. The streets are quiet, the moon is soft, the dawn is coming, slow and kind, over the old rooftops of Yharnam. Your part is done. Let your breathing slow. Let your body grow heavy and calm. Let every last thread of the night loosen and fall away, and drift down, gently, into a deep and peaceful sleep. Good night.